So 1-0 it finishes today at the Emirates. Arsenal beat Newcastle United. They reclaim their place at the top of the Premier League after what was a really gritty win today in North London. Nigel, it was only 90 minutes in the end, but for Arsenal fans it felt like maybe 90 hours, didn't it, in moments of that match? Yeah,
it definitely felt like a real long one today, Poppy. And I think if you look at the game and how you describe that, it just reminds me of the Arsenal song of 1-0 to the Arsenal, because that's exactly what this game was. It was a hard-fought result. They didn't always look comfortable. I would say there's many ways you can analyse this game and look at it. For the hardcore Arsenal fan, they'll probably think, right, we've got the job done. This is what we've been doing for the entirety of the second period of the Premier League season. We haven't been great. We haven't been palatable at times, but we find a way to win and get the job done. For the other Arsenal fan that might be looking at it a bit worried and nervous, which the Emirates kind of felt like today, there's a lot of nervous energy there, was, yes, we got the job done, but again, we weren't comfortable. We didn't create a lot of chances. And how long can we continue to play like this and ride our luck when you look at what's coming ahead of us in fixture list and also Champions League, with how tight the Premier League tables become now and Manchester City breathing down their neck?
I was going to say, is it too nervy in some moments at the Emirates as a player? How much do you feel that? Because it's been this ongoing talk, hasn't it, all season for Arsenal under pressure, but to just look around and scan in the Emirates, I mean, it was a nail-biter, and I think Mikel Arteta's big sigh of relief at the end said it all. How much pressure now do they feel that they're back at the top with this run in to close the season?
There's pressure on Arsenal, always. Especially now when you look at Manchester City and what's happened with them losing to Manchester City, losing the League Cup to Manchester City. And the Arsenal players know there's pressure playing at the Emirates, but also away team players know that there's pressure at the Emirates. They know now from an away standpoint that if you could go there, start well, put them on the back foot, that nervous energy that the fans are putting out there spills onto the players.
So would you like to play Arsenal if you were a visiting team right now?
Fantastic. Of course you would. You would love it. You would love it because you know that the fan base isn't... It's not they don't believe in their team, but they're not supporting the team as they should be supporting their team. Yes, Arsenal haven't been as convincing as you'd like them to be. They haven't been creating a lot of chances, but from the players' perspective, especially in a away team, you would love that because you know if you start well, if you create chances, you put some tackles in, the energy comes from the fans onto the players, and then that starts to make them to start making mistakes. So, again, it was a bit more of an open Arsenal performance today. And again, when you look at their performance against Newcastle, you look from the stats point of view, Newcastle were well and truly in it. You know, stats-wise, they weren't out of it. And that's something that people will be watching that to say that, again, nervy performance. Yes, we got the job done that we needed to, but how long can we keep riding our luck? When you look ahead to the fixtures that will be coming to Arsenal, as we will look later on in this, that it is a bit of a nervous energy that still is around that's not great in reading.
But just by the way, I mean, Newcastle, they're 3 shots on target. There was moments in that game, Nigel, where we were on the edge of our seat. They could have had a couple, couldn't they, Newcastle, quite easily in that game. Are you concerned for Arsenal defensively? If you are Mikel and you're reflecting on the game, you would say, yes, OK, the result is the most important thing. But considering that they've got Atletico Madrid midweek in the Champions League, what is it about Arsenal that he'll be hoping to kind of tweak ahead of the midweek matches?
Somehow, some way, he needs to just feed that energy to his players. They were a little bit better today, but still there's that nervousness about them. You know, you want Arsenal to go out there to say, right, we're going to play football, we're going to dominate games, we're not going to be shy, we're going to believe in our players. Go out there. Again, lack of creativity today when you look at that game. Newcastle had the biggest moment with Wissa, where that could have been the turning point if he'd have scored that perfectly onside.
Yeah, onside too.
Puts it over the bar, and you could even see them watching the game as the camera goes to the fans. There was a nervousness about the fans there and starting to feel, uh-oh, here we go again. There's too many big games coming up for Arsenal now where you just feel that they could potentially drop points or lose games if they continue to perform like this. There's a saying, if you're going to sink a ship, sink it properly. And I think for me with Arsenal, when I look at this Arsenal side, just go out there and play. Go out there and play, and that's the big difference between them and Manchester City. We already know Manchester City are not the strong defensively side that we've seen under Pep Guardiola before. They play a lot more vulnerable, a lot more open, but they have that belief that they can go and win games. I think Arsenal right now are winning games, But do I really look at a team that have that belief that they can continue to go? It's not so convincing.
Maybe as well because we've seen so many matches be such a slim advantage for Arsenal. It feels like in moments they start really well, they get the goal, and then they don't know whether to sit in or carry on attacking because they're kind of caught in two minds. Do you feel that way?
I agree to that. And I think when you look again, today's game against Newcastle, it's one of those moments where you've got that 1-0. There should be an adrenaline rush. There should be a real desire to go and get that second goal, to go and control and dominate the game. But they get themselves 1-0 up for a set piece. And then from then, it's kind of like, what do we do now? There's no real control of the game. There's no real dictating of the game of against Newcastle and how to really control the flow of it. And you just felt that they let Newcastle stay around. And Newcastle were the team that grew more into the game, getting possession. And again, you can see the lack of having a great striker at the moment in Newcastle that let them down in that big moment for Wissa. We could be having a different conversation. That finished 1-1.
What about Kai Havertz, by the way? Because obviously we saw him come out. He went straight down the tunnel. Didn't look good for a couple of others that looked like they maybe had a little niggle. That's a bit worrying as well, considering the strength and the depth of the squad in these crucial matches. Big
worry. You talk about where goals are going to come from. It's going to come from him. His football intelligence and what he's shown to be to Arsenal in goal scoring ability and creating as well. Big loss. Big disappointment. We don't know how severe the injury is, but when you look at Arsenal competing in the Premier League title race and also still in the Champions League, that is a vital player you do not want to lose when it comes to this running. Provides an opportunity now for Victories Eze again to come back into the team and have some kind of impact. But Kai Havertz is not a player that's going to be easily replaced. So there's a worry for that when you talk about the creative element in the Arsenal side. But great to see Saka come back in and have a bit of an impact for them moving forward. So Saka's going to be big for them now coming back into this Arsenal side as they move forward.
So true. OK, let's have a look at the remaining games to go for Arsenal and Man City. Obviously, Man City were playing in the FA Cup today, so they have still got that one game in hand. Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa await for the citizens. And for Arsenal, it's Fulham, West Ham, Burnley and Crystal Palace. Obviously, West Ham, Nigel, as we know, are in a proper relegation scrap at the bottom of the table. Who do you favour in the run-in to close this season?
Some tough games there. I mean, probably you look at Arsenal now, let's just go. You go Fulham next. Fulham beat good informed Aston Villa as they're trying to push as well for Europe. West Ham fighting for their lives, get a great result against Everton. These are going to be tough games. I think when I look at Arsenal's fixture list...
nothing to lose, really.
Nothing to lose for Burnley. But I would say Arsenal should get that job done against Burnley. I look at West Ham, for me, as the more tricky one. Even though Fulham are very capable on the day, we've seen West Ham do it to Arsenal before. I think it was last season they did it, where they just literally camped in, 11 players behind the ball and find a way to get a win. They know what it's like to really scrap and fight, and they will be a very difficult opponent for Arsenal, especially an Arsenal side that's not creating a lot right now.
Aston Villa, by the way, could be really interesting as well on the final match day of the season because they are in 5th place right now. They're in the last Champions League place. They also could be kind of on the outside looking in, pushing to get into it. So it could mean everything for them.
But also with Aston Villa, they are also in the Europa League, and if you win that, you get into the Champions League also, and they face a Nottingham Forest side that's close to your heart, who thought they might have been safe from a relegation battle, but then with West Ham and Tottenham getting a win today, that puts more pressure on them again. They got sucked back into it. So it just shows with all the games coming up how difficult it's going to be. I think for me, again, when you look at it and to simplify it, forget the stats and numbers, let's just talk about the game that we love, football, watching it. Manchester City are playing like a team that really have that belief and confidence. They said it to us, they smell blood. They're playing like a team that smells blood. They're going out there with no fear. Yes, they leave themselves vulnerable at times. They will have opportunity. They will leave themselves open for opportunities for opposition, but you still have that belief and confidence in that they'll get the job done. When I look at Arsenal, it's still just stumbling over the line. There's still a lack of creating opportunities in the final third. Can they keep
stumbling? Had they almost got comfortable stumbling at the minute?
That's the worry. I think now when you look into this run of games, and let's not forget, Arsenal still have Champions League. Manchester City have tunnel vision now where it's FA Cup and also this Premier League title race. Arsenal have a lot to juggle, and losing Kai Havertz could be a big problem for them as this running continues.
So who've you got, City or Arsenal?
I still feel that I would say with form and what I've seen, I think City really pretty much have the destiny in their own hands. And when you look at that Premier League table, with that game in hand for City as well, and Arsenal still not looking very convincing to me, and you've got big Champions League games coming up and some tough Premier League fixtures still to go, I would say momentum and favours in Manchester City right now.
So you'd rather be playing for City at the minute then?
Of course, you definitely would rather be playing for City. It's easy because the nervous energy is still feeding from the Arsenal fans, and I think for me, people might not like it, you're criticising Arsenal fans, but it's just the reality of it. I think if you're Arsenal fans right now, you've got to get behind your team. You've got to get behind your team with a different kind of energy, with a more belief that we're going to get it done. Regardless of what happens in any of the games, there needs to be a more focused energy pushing the team over the line.
Because even today we could hear some of the players talking, obviously, couldn't we, on the pitch? And you made the point, it's so quiet in the stadium that you can hear them more so maybe than what you would be able to hear on other broadcasts.
Too much negative energy that the fans are putting onto the Arsenal players as well, I think is playing a part.
OK, so Arsenal, Atletico Madrid in the Champions League midweek, and then it is back to the Premier League for this amazing close-in to the season. Thanks for watching this video from our CBS Sports Matchday coverage. For more analysis and for all of the games, including Serie A, EFL, as well as a full suite of UEFA club competitions like the UEFA Women's Champions League, sign up for Paramount+.